Okay, what's going on, everybody? RC's MMA here. Back with another video. I just did a 40-minute breakdown of the fight night and went over all my picks. I did very well on that. 82%, 9 of 11 I got correct. And I went the entire video without really giving my plug for subscribing. I would very much appreciate if you watch my videos, if you could subscribe. Doesn't cost y'all anything. I watch a lot of YouTube content, and I subscribe to all the guys that I watch because I like curating my feed. So, I live in rural BC. We got chickens, so we're allowed to have chickens here, and an egg stand, and we sell those eggs on, what is essentially like a very trusting method, because our town is very small and we know most of the people that live here, and we leave the eggs out there with a glass jar that says $5 per carton, and we trust that people put the money in the jar when they take their eggs, and they do. So don't steal my eggs, please. Take my fucking oops. I said the F word in the first minute and a half. I'm not going to restart this video because I'm not gonna. Please just subscribe. Anyways, this video we're going to be talking about Francis Ngannou, as Joey Diaz would say. No, Francis Ngannou. Okay. Dana White has essentially said he's gone from the UFC. They're giving up the right to match. They're going to release him from his contract, let him go. And I'm honestly not surprised whatsoever. I'm not surprised, motherfuckers, because with Stockton, California, baby, you already know what's up. Because Francis Ngannou, as much as I like him, and I love his backstory and all that jazz, right? Like, he's got a crazy backstory. Nice guy. His episode on Joe Rogan was pretty phenomenal. Man, I don't know if it's management or like what the deal is, but he seems to have grown he's increasingly entitled. And I may get dislikes for that, because I know that a lot of people like to shit on the UFC for fighter pay and this and that. And like, look, I would love if the fighters could get paid more money. But the reality is that if you don't put butts in seats, or if you don't bring in pay-per-view buys, like, there's not really much they can do about it. Like, they can't justify paying you $10 million if you bring in like less than $1 million in pay-per-view money. You know what I mean? And Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane sold like 300,000 pay-per-view buys or something like that. Like, as much fun as he is to watch, and I don't know if this is the case, but it's almost like a Mike Tyson effect where you're kind of just like waiting, even though, dude, he probably should have lost that Gane fight. Like, that decision was controversial. He didn't blow him out of the water. And honestly, man, like, if we're talking skill for skill, he is not the most skilled heavyweight in the UFC. He's got power, and that's about it. Power and size. He's a giant dude. Who, sorry about that, I might have unmuted a little too quickly. I was trying to fucking sniff up my fucked up septum nasal bullshit, whatever the fuck. My nose is messed. But, like, who knows? Yeah, he flatlined Stipe in their rematch. Technically, they're 1-1. Stipe outclassed him for 5 rounds in their first fight. And who knows if Stipe made it past, the first couple rounds there. Like, if he got out of that second round and got into the third and fourth, like, who knows how it would have played out. Stipe is extremely talented in almost every aspect of MMA. And like I said, he probably should have lost the Cyril Gane fight. I don't understand where these fighters get this entitlement. And Dana White said they offered him more money than they paid Brock Lesnar. And if we're gonna take Dana at his word, I mean, that's probably a lot of money, because Brock Lesnar actually put butts in seats and actually, you know, Brock Lesnar events coincided with bigger pay-per-view numbers. And they offered him more money than that, making him the highest paid heavyweight in UFC history, he said, which means he would be making more money than John Jones in his return fight. He'd be making... Dude, Mark Hunt used to make a fuck ton of money per fight, for even just a show. Like $800K to Alistair Overeem. $850K to show. Like, flat fee. No win bonus, no nothing. And this just goes to... I hope fighters kind of take notes, man. If you do not have leverage, or as much leverage as you think you do, don't do that. I don't get it. What are you gonna do? Go to the PFL, a company that will pay you so much money that they go into bankruptcy, and then what are you gonna fucking do, dude? The PFL ain't bringing in that much money, so they may be able to pay you a lot for one season, and yeah, maybe you'll win the tournament and get that $1 million check at the end of it. But it seems like the $1 million is like not the issue, because if I would imagine, being the highest paid heavyweight in UFC history, he's probably getting well over $1 million to show. You know? And if it's over the boxing shit, dude, Francis Ngannou, you're a fuck up. Like, fuck off with this boxing shit, dude. People are probably going to dislike this video. You can talk shit all you want, dude. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. I am not... Like, I like watching Francis fight because I like seeing crazy fucking knockouts. But if I'm being totally honest, dude, I ain't gonna miss him that much. And I am a hardcore MMA fan, and I don't know that I'm gonna buy any PFL pay-per-view just to watch him fight, dude. You know, I don't know if I will. Because it's gonna be even more, like, the outcome's gonna be written in stone, essentially, dude. Who's in the PFL that he's gonna fight? Who would be in Bellator? He could go to Bellator, dude. Come on. People that think that Bellator and shit are on par with the UFC, fuck out of here, bro. Rory McDonald could never become a champion. He had multiple attempts, he couldn't do it. Or maybe he just had the one, I can't remember. But, right, like, he got his nose smashed. Robbie Lawler took the, like... He goes over to Bellator. He's like a long reigning champion. Gets the chance to fight for up a weight class, dude. You know? Who else? Ryan Bader. Not championship material in the UFC. Double champ over in Bellator. Like, fuck it. Like Dana said, he wants to fight lesser competition for more money. Have at it. Give her, dude. The boxing shit annoys the fuck out of me. Like, enough with boxing. If you don't want to be an MMA fighter, go do boxing then. You could probably find a boxing promoter to pay you. Especially since you're going to be leaving your contract as the current UFC champion. I just don't understand the entitlement. Like, if you know you don't, like... Your Instagram followers don't correlate, clearly, right? Your Twitter followers don't correlate. You don't actually drive that much revenue for the company. And the company is just that, a company. They're a business. They're not going to do the boxing model where they pay you $30 million a fight. And then, you know, next year, all of a sudden, they're like, well, fuck, we overspent way much. We got, like, what are we going to do? We're going to go bankrupt. They can't do that. And I don't want them to do that because we would have no UFC. I don't get it, dude. People think that... I get it, dude. The UFC makes good money. And Dana White makes good money. And some of the ring girls make more than some of the fighters do. And this and that and this and that. But look. There are solid arguments against the UFC when it comes to fighter pay. But when you then get offered the highest contract in UFC heavyweight history, which we know that the big boys get paid the big dollars, in terms of, like, there's nobody else besides, like, Alistair and Mark Hunt who get that kind of show money that isn't a UFC champion. And that was they were getting that money before the UFC blew up in a big way, bringing in even more money. So, had they been around now, had their careers lasted a little bit longer, they might have been getting fucking $1.5 million per show. Like, that was at a time where the UFC wasn't what it was now. Again, shit on me. I don't give a shit, dude. I feel like Francis Ngannou is entitled. And I don't know if it's due to, like, management in his ear or family members in his ear or what it is. But it's kind of shitty because I would prefer that the best, like, the top of the heavyweight division, I would like it if they were all in the UFC. I would like to see him in a Stipe trilogy. I would like to see him versus Jon Jones. I would like to see him in a Cyril Gane rematch. I would like to see him versus Tom Aspinall. I would like to see him versus Bam Bam. Bam Bam almost finished Cyril Gane, who is a way more technical striker. And he did that with, like, much like Sean Strickland, looks like a brawling style. He made an adjustment to land that shot. Bam Bam's more technical than people give him credit for, even, you know. I would like to see these matchups. But if he wants to leave, fucking, why do people think that the UFC is going to care? This is a big power play for the UFC also, because it shows you that fucking 12 pounds of gold, or whatever the saying is, that you got wrapped around your waist, don't mean shit to them. Those 3 letters, UFC, those sell the pay-per-views. Those bring butts and seats. Not Francis Ngannou. And you can say I'm shilling for the UFC or whatever the fuck you want, dude. Fighters need to understand this. If you want Conor money, or even close to Conor money, Habib money, you know what I mean, or anything like that, you gotta drive pay-per-view buys. The UFC didn't. And in fairness, Francis Ngannou only fought once last year. He hasn't fought in about a year, like almost to the day, right? Because he's coming up on, January 22nd, 2022 was his fight versus Cyril Gane, if I'm not mistaken. It's the 14th of January, 15th of January this year. So, over a year. And yeah, I get that he had ACL surgery. I'm pretty sure that takes like 6 months to heal from, unless there's complications. I don't think it's due to complications. I think he's being an entitled fuck. And now, his legacy is ruined because he's got one title defense that was controversial. And he's going to fight fat guys in shorts now. It's unfortunate, man, but this is like, it goes to show you the UFC has the leverage. And it's a good lesson in business to not overstate your leverage or try to overplay your leverage, because he didn't have as much leverage as he thought that he did. And now the UFC is just like, no, we're done with him. So he's gonna get stripped of the belt. Cyril Gane and Jon Jones is gonna be for the vacant heavyweight title. And that pay-per-view will do a lot more than anything that Francis Ngannou would have done, unless it would have been against Jon Jones. That's the thing, dude. The guys in the lightweight division understand. We got to get the red panty night. We got to call out Conor. We'll get a fat paycheck. Dustin Poirier gets pay-per-view points in the third fight that lasts a round because Conor breaks his leg. Probably made at least 10 to 15 mil in that fight, because it was in his contract in the second fight that if he wins, he gets pay-per-view points in the next. Whoa, my stomach made a fucked up sound. That's strange. You gotta play correctly, dude. This is chess, not checkers. Francis Ngannou could have stuck around, right? Fought Jon Jones. Had a huge pay-per-view payout. He would have gotten an immense amount of money in pay-per-view sales for that, because Jon Jones, you know, as much as people like to shit on the guy, and I can't fucking stand him if I'm being brutally honest, him and DC's fights did like 800,000 pay-per-view buys. Now, it's not a mill. It's not like Conor shit, right? It's a lot better than the UFC's been doing lately. And it's still a fuckload of money for Francis Ngannou. Because he's the one holding the belt. And he kind of just threw that all away for quick cash at the PFL that won't last forever, because the PFL ain't going to be around forever. They keep paying dudes crazy amounts of money like that. And he's ruined his legacy, tarnished it completely. He will never be considered the heavyweight GOAT ever unless he returns to the UFC, which I just don't see happening. So, it's unfortunate news, but let it be a lesson to all you entitled fucks asking for more money when you don't deserve it. Dislike this video. And subscribe, please. Don't steal my eggs. See you later.